Right there, today I'm going to talk about some work, um, statistics of now, and what we should be doing for the free world that's coming. Right, which can come in the next 5 to 50 years, as I was saying. Basically, we're only about 27 million people right now that are not voting. 19 million registered that are going to be recognised, and 8 million eligible that don't, against 28 million that are registered that are in the UK. So we're about 1.2 million people behind, but they're not going to accept that in reality, even though they should do, because they won't, because they're corrupt. But what we need to do is realise that we only need about 5 million people not to vote who are registered as voters, and join the side of us of the 19 million that do. It's ridiculous, it's retarded what they're doing, but this is what they do to keep their silly little power of a world that's £300 trillion in debt right now. Right, I mean, Britain itself, I think I said in other vlogs, and if you look on the national world debt clock to look at for yourself, it's about £5,170 a second going up. There's a country that has about £4.3 trillion in debt all in all, when you include all the pensions and insurance and all the rest of it. It shows you that on the debt clock. They make excuses, all these people, to why that's all right, and they've slammed that £70,000 on each one of us. Some of us, for being in debt, they average it out for everyone else. This world's over. It's a burnt out world. It's had its day, as I said. All the epochs over 5,000 years of all the kingdoms of the world. This world's over. It doesn't accept it. For 300 years, politics or democracy or deception over us as people to give us some sort of thing we've got a say in the matter. It's basically been up and running. It's well and truly over, don't you think? It's never going to get any better. They're going to maintain the same old banking, governmental, legal, war and offensive order over us. So these are the 3-4 basic industries that are basically keeping us into a subterranean system, Lord system, Azoras, in a Kali Yuga. Recognise who your true enemies industrially actually at the moment are, basically, for us to beat them basically civilly in lawful rebellion in this country and every other country that's democratic. And all we got to do, right, in a 5-step plan that I'll go on about, is basically, first of all, don't vote, right, so beat the maritime system, so you stand in your sovereign household against them, right, so you become kings of kings, queens of queens, thinking against the second-class system lords, right. To beat the banking system, you've got to basically get the government, step one. So don't vote in their maritime law. Then you become neutral as soon as possible. It maybe take a lot of time of discussion, where they want to talk about it all day long. Really, all it takes is security of all these ushering around these political prisoners, which they are, to basically house arrest them, or even more, say you have no power and authority anymore. We've had enough of all your shenanigans, basically, and what's going on, war in air, land and sea, and shuffling you all about to talk nonsense speeches that doesn't do anything, that just maintains the same old situation, right? This is what they need to do as military men, in the turning in the gold, basically ironing the gold on their own part, I would say, personally. Step 3 is where we all come in on Civvy Street, as I say. After step 1, I'm not voting in, and this is where it gets really interesting, because what we do then, see, when it becomes non-monetary, we clear all debts, right? That debt being a mortgage is a debt. That's cleared. That's now your house. Council arrears you may have got yourself into, basically cleared. Credit cards, debit cards, cleared. Finance that you've got yourself in, future payments that you've arranged that are going to come in, like your new sofa or something you've got to pay in 5 years' time, cleared. Right, all this, all cleared. Right, not paid back, cleared. I understand, that's why we're not voting. You've got to understand what's going to happen one day when we hit 51%, which could happen in the next 5 years. Right, to understand, or 50 years. But what I laid down is it's a layman foundational way that all what we can do as Civvy Street layman people is do what I'm saying, which is basically not vote. We all run all the posting positions, right? As I was saying, we'll get back into step 3 that I'm saying, right? So what happens when you become non-monetary? Well, we clear all the debts, as I was saying. Put everything in the first estate. That house is now yours. It's safe as houses. Any movement we make from this moment on, you're not getting evicted when we close down departments that are not needed in industries, big and small. Industries themselves that are big and small that are not now relevant, you see. What you're doing is basically like condensing and reduction in what is needed and what's not needed, in the separate of the wheat and the chaff. And I said, when it's a chaff, right, as a free world service and not relevant for it, you're not being evicted. So this is the beauty of the way, you see. that basically makes us basically have a free world. Basically, this is how a real flow state economic system runs. So it frees us. As I say, the real revolution is inside human resources. Just understand it, right? So the real internal program of what we need to be doing is basically in reorganisation. It's inside human resources of industry. That's where the real true revolution, to use the word revolution, has been ambiguous as a name. Really, it's basically bringing a resurrected system. See, a flow state economy, and it's inside there is where where the real change happens in the reorganisation, right? And what happens after step 3, you get into step 4, but this is where the reorganisation happens. This is where you basically choose to work 13 weeks, 26 weeks, or 39 weeks for free. And everything is free for you, and the mission, attainment, and accessibility of all things that we're all running in all services and the work, rest, and play. Okay? So, like, you choose 13 weeks between 4 people in every duty, because most people are being a job. Even on the other side of a free world where it's about Dharma, which is your career, most people aren't going to get a full-time public service Dharmic career that self-satisfy you. Most people are being jobs around career service people, like for a hospital as an example, where every other duty apart from being the surgeon, the nurse, and the doctor, where it's a career, every other service is pretty much a job to people. You see, as one example of what I'm talking about, and all the locals then cover all the jobs in the hospital, and that would be every other job as well that's worth keeping in your local areas. You see what's worth keeping. You work either 13 weeks for most people, 16 at most if it's a little bit more skilled, and you've got to come in 3 weeks before your 13 weeks set on to basically be induced and trained. You're still getting 36 weeks off, right? Or 39 if it literally is a 13 week, and on by the one day you're induced, because that's how simple the job is. We'll find out and know this for ourselves when this actually starts to come forward, which it will eventually. This is where we've got to head to and focus on and agree on. For most people, they're working the 13 weeks between 4 people, right? So one season, you see, every one season you've got a new person coming in for 13 weeks to do that one duty. There's enough people that can make this happen worldwide. You see what I mean? Because you said you're reducing duties, so you're reducing what needs to be done here and not be done. Do you understand that? So like, it's not going to be stupid 99p shops or nail spas for duties. No one's going to do that in a free world for full time. You see, there's no more shoe shine boys anymore in a free world of servitude duties to make money from. There's no more plastic naffy rubbish products. There's no more crappy leveled third FDC cleared products being made. There's only FDA top quality stuff being made by everyone, mass produced, where only the rich may have it, or the poor have got to save up more to have all that stuff. That's better quality. We're all just going to make the best of the best of the best of the best of it and mass produce it. That's what you need to do. Then it reduces, condenses what we need here and what we don't need here, and mass produce it. That's how you make the calculation of 30 minutes by 4 people work. Right, everybody's got your house. So you don't need to be working to make a rubbish product to have a mortgage. Remember, it's been cleared, right? You don't need to be making this business. You don't need to be making this rubbish business anymore. Your house is yours, even if you have 10 years on that mortgage, if you've gone the middle class sort of mortgage ideology. For example, you say you're being cleared, you're being freed from that debt that you are put yourself into 20, 30 years or whatever it is in your contract. So you don't need to be making this rubbish brand product in a free non-monetary world. This is the beauty of what basically the way, I keep on saying it, which it really is, that will free us, you see. So all the rubbish products that are being made, all the silly ideas that you want people to buy into, your silly little things that you can have your little mortgage, doesn't happen anymore. You only get a bigger place now in the first estate, where all 3 stocks basically are the same, like mortgage, housing association and council, all just one stock. So now you have more wriggle room, and you upsize only when you have the proof that you have a new baby to upsize on the first estate that you're registered on. You see, or you mutually exchange, or you're downsizing because you want to downsize because you have spare rooms and your children are all grown up and you're just left there with empty rooms when you're ready to downsize. So this is how we work, and because you've got now these 3 stocks in one stock, you have more wriggle room. You see, this is the heavenly economics of a free world, and how it would really operate internally, integrally. See, it's down to us to make this happen. See, there is a resolution. This is the resolution. It's been there all the while. I've just tuned in to how a critter yuga really works. I flow state economy, what made it so golden for the working class man and woman, who are the most of the people in this world, the legs of the world, as I say, Vedically. See, we make things run, we run things, so then basically in the work, rest and play, as I said before, we basically get all the share of the dividends. You see, you're only working 13 weeks on an average, 16 at most, basically per annum. You're getting 3 seasons back to yourself, everything's free for you. You couldn't be that greedy if you wanted to be, because your house can only store so much stuff, from a 1-bedroom flat to a 5-bedroom house that most people are basically in on average. So once it's all filled up and everything lasts for 3 to 15 years, right, so mobile phones like 3 years to 15 years, or your white goods and furniture, or your other sort of like mod cons of basically like, TV and sound system, these things last. You don't need to be topping up anymore. You've got what you wanted, right? So then, you see what I mean? Nothing's going to be ransacked between one another out of greed. You see, you take what you want when you need it. You see, enjoy yourself. Take only what you need from it. MGMT, it's the truth. Good line, right? And it's the truth. It's how we integrally move. And this is where we need to be getting to in the free world, you see. And it takes basically every 5 years we get that chance to do that, So it's about time people started looking forward to more of these things rather than looking at the politics that's talking the same old drony, old boring nonsense that's not getting us anywhere. You see, it's not getting us anywhere whatsoever. It's just them just feeding themselves the same old jobs, basically talking a load of old rubbish, trashy, just maintaining destruction, deceit and deceitfulness in creation, you see, for their own self, just basically feather their own nest of their own life, and they've sold out to the system to do it. Same old mediocrity media, that feeds with it. None of them saying anything new. No, they like to make out their own saying, no, they're just controlled opposition. They're not going to say anything new. It's only on independents they're going to be talking about is on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook's rumbles, whatever, that are going to be saying anything new and different, And what I'm saying is throw this in the mix of this whole talk with you, all you other speakers, if you choose to and you want to. Because, it's all very well talking about all these evil reports of the world and all these wrongs in the world and all this research, but what's the resolution that you bring? And this is what I'm putting forward for you to discuss more with everybody else, if it holds all with you, how a free world could run, you see. And it needs everybody else to look at what I'm talking about and analyse this, you see, and see what I can't all see. I can't see myself because I'm not every person. I'm putting down the layman foundation, what you may see in your posing position that I can't see, and the problems that couldn't happen in crossing over to a free world and the free world. And you see, not that I'm ever going to back down from what I'm saying, because I understand how critical you're going, but basically because you may find a problem, you may say, well, that's why what I'm saying is false. It's like, well, no, maybe that's the challenge where it needs to be changed. Just as I was saying, when we hit a free world and you're the first country that hits 51% and you're still in a whole world of democracy, of world order, what happens to that first country? It becomes the first pioneer flagship. You see, how do we trade? You see, because they've left us all wide open to needed other products from other industries to be imported over here. See what I mean? Where before we had it self-sufficient, all other countries have been left wide open like this. So we've got to replicate everything in a free world when we're self-sufficient, you see, and basically trade in the sense of, well, what I suggest, right, is what I suggest on that tip, basically, well, we make all these products, the bulk weight yearly tonnage, and we want the same amount back for you for free. We give you it back free. See, this is where it's going to get really contentious, because remember, they're still in the world. The rest of the world's still in a monetary rulership. You see, but this is the real difficult in the reality. It's not to say what I'm saying, as I said before in other vlogs, is false. That's where the real challenge is. See what I mean? And it's where it needs more heads of people to come and figure out this stuff. You see what I mean? To get this free world for everybody. So everybody can be as free as the rich and have more free time. You see, and free from these political prisoners. You see, because we're more free than them. Even now we're poor or whatever. Because you can walk out having to be ushered about in insecurity posts, about getting even more free from them, so they have no monetary control, and then trying to screw us down with more control mechanisms like this identity. Digital identity thing they want us all be having nowadays, you know what I mean, or trying to push it on you. See, they're not making your life and the work life any easier, You get tax up to your eyeballs, and now they want you basically have this before you start a new job. And if you know, it's sort of like, they're making it not very appealing to work, are they? You know, what's that all about? They're trying to thumb screw down because they're all political prisoners. They'll get ushered about from here and there, you know. So it's bitterness in their own self, being second-class rulers for a fourth-class religious system. You see, so people need to basically start to amongst themselves wake up to what's going on here. If you're not already waken up, which a lot of people are, I think there's more of a divide of the clash now of who are and who aren't, what side of the line you choose to be living. You see what I mean? And what side you've made your mind up of being, with us or them, of this world's order, or us who basically wants the free world. So I'll put these things forward and have a little mull around in your mind if you've got time. If it holds water with you, pass the message on, you know, throw it in your own mix, you know. It needs all hands on deck in its thinking, you know what I mean? Anyway, have a good day. See you later.